Hello everyone and welcome to another video from CUSUM. I'm Quality Engineer for New Product Productions and Hazardous. And today we're starting Class 1 Fundamentals ISO 14971 of our Risk Engineering for Medical Devices course. Now for any of you guys who don't know me, I'm Quality Engineer for New Product Productions and Hazardous. I've specialized most of my career in the medical manufacturing sector, mainly for Cardinal Health, Medtronic, Stryker, Teleflex, and Jabil. I have about 8 published books related to quality engineering, scientific injection molding, Minitab, statistics, and other additional supporting topics. I have 3 different diplomas from Severity University related to medical device manufacturing, cost engineering, and also project management. Also, a couple of different seminars related to scientific injection molding, CMM measurement system usage, and other additional tools. So if you have any related questions about this course, you can always contact us at info@cusum.mx, which is located here in the bottom right. Now, our key course objective is for you to understand how risk is defined and how it is structured within the medical device manufacturing industry. It will be a little bit different if you work in aerospace or automotive. Now, how do we define risk? Well, we usually look at a corporate standard because I don't want to be wrong, right? If I define risk my way and then I ask somebody else, he might have a different definition. So instead, we refer to a corporate standard. For this particular instance, we have ISO 14971. It is an international standard used by medical device companies that assesses the risk of their products. It is essential for us to understand how ISO 14971 is structured if we want to work as quality engineers. Now, why does risk even matter, right? Like, aren't we just building products? Well, we want to make sure that patient safety is a top concern, regulatory compliance is met, and that all our engineering decisions are made considering the risk, not just the business itself, but the overall impact. For this, we can have different scenarios, such as risk analysis, risk evaluation, risk control, evaluation, risk management report, and post-production information. Now, whenever we want to talk about risk in terms of ISO 14971, we have 4 key words that we must always follow. They are hazard, dangerous situation, damage, and risk, which is simply the severity of a harm times the probability of said harm. We're going to talk about those 4 key terms right now. So hazard, first definition we need to understand. It is a potential source of harm. Now, what does potential even mean? Well, common ideas of hazards are electrical problems, radiation, moving parts on a device, biocompatibility issues, or misuse of our device. So it is a potential source of harm. It might not actually happen, but as engineers, we need to evaluate what hazards exist within our product. The next definition is known as a dangerous situation. It is a situation in which people, property, or the environment will be exposed to one or more hazards. Remember, hazard is a potential impact. The dangerous situation is when are we exposed to said impact. The main connection is that it will be the connection between the source of the hazard and the actual impact or damage, which is the actual injury. So I might say, well, there's electrical current here that is going to be a hazard. And a dangerous situation would be an exposed wire on my device. So electricity, and there's an exposed wire. Then we move over to our third keyword, which is called harm or damage. Damage is the materialization of a risk. In essence, it is our hazard plus a dangerous situation. It can be a direct injury, an illness, or a death, as well as the deterioration of somebody's health, whether minimal or a big considerable impact. Please note that damage is the negative impact that has already occurred or materialized, while hazard is just the potential source of it. Source, not impact. So when I say hazard is electricity, I'm not saying whether somebody's going to get an electrical shock or somebody's going to die or something else. I'm just saying hazard is the electricity. The potential situation somebody finds themselves in that could cause them to have a harm because of this electricity is the exposed wire. And the damage might be tissue damage or brain damage or death or some other type of illness, right? Now remember, these terms are usually considered during product development. We're not talking about, oh, if the manufacturing line has a short shot issue, what is the impact to the manufacturing line? No. We're saying our product will have biocompatibility issues, we'll have electrical issues, we'll have moisture issues, we'll have sterilization issues, might have other additional issues, right? So let's grab another example. Let's say we have as a potential hazard biocompatibility. So biocompatibility is the fact that somebody, when this device is placed on their body, is actually going to be compatible. Now, what would be the potential, let's go back here, dangerous situation? Well, let's say my device has exposed internal components. Okay, it's not fully sealed. Okay, so there's a potential problem of biocompatibility, and I have a device that is not fully sealed. So it's not, let's say most devices are covered in titanium, for example, that has no reactivity within the patient's body. But let's say this cover is not fully made. So there are areas of this product that are not fully covered. In that scenario, what is going to be the actual harm or damage to the person? Well, he might get a rash. He might have some type of contamination on their body. Maybe their blood gets contaminated, or maybe it causes them illness or death. So that is the actual damage. That is when it actually occurs. Now, what is the risk? So I'm talking about this device that was not properly covered in titanium, that has some parts that are in contact with tissues that might lead to some type of contamination, illness, or sickness, right? How severe could that sickness be? Is it going to be something minimal, like just a common cold, like he's going to be okay? Or is it going to be something major where the blood gets contaminated and now his life is at risk? So that maybe has a high severity. We might say a severity of 9, and I'll talk about the numbers later. Now, about the probability. How often do I have scenarios where the device is not fully covered in titanium? You might say, well, I have a manual operation where somebody grabs it and dukes it and adds it and whatever, or does a chemical coating to the device and he doesn't really check, or we don't have an actual inspection to make sure. So probability might be high. So the severity times the probability lets me know how severe the risk of something is. And in that scenario, I might say, well, engineering, we can't change, the way that this product functions. So severity is still going to be high, but we need to do something about the probability. How to make sure that this does not happen to the end customer? Think about a car. Okay. So when you're driving a car, right, what will be the potential impact? Well, mechanical failure, right? That will be a potential. Let's go back here. That will be a hazard. So mechanical loss of vehicle control. Okay. Now, dangerous situation somebody might find themselves in that results in something like this. Well, we maybe forgot a couple of screws when connecting the steering wheel to the actual wheels in the car. Okay. And what is going to be the actual harm or damage of that situation? Well, vehicle loss of control and a car crash. Now, it's not the same as a very general car crash. So we're going to say, well, it's going to be a high-speed car crash. So what's the severity of a high-speed car crash? Well, somebody could die. So again, very high severity values. Now, how often do we misplace screw assembly? Oh, you know what? We're bolting everything with 20 different screws, and if we're just missing just one, it's total chaos. Okay, so probability is also really high. Now from here we might say, this risk is unacceptable. So what can we do about this? Well, we can modify the design so that it has redundancy. So that while we're using 20 screws, just having 10 of them or 5 of them assures equipment function. This also happens a lot in airplanes. Most airplanes have redundancies. You might see that your airplane has 2 or more engines on the wings, but the engines are made with such power that an actual airplane can fly with just one engine. So what is the probability of both engines failing at the same time? Well, it's not as likely as one engine failing. So that's how you add redundancy to your designs. Now from here, we talked about the keywords, and here's another example, and this one is very basic for you guys from a medical device. We have a device that's going to be a scalpel. Okay, scalpels are usually done to do cuts within the patient's body during some type of surgery. Now, the danger is that it has a cutting surface, this one right here, right? And this can cut somebody. It can be the doctor, the nurse, or the actual patient. Now, what is the actual harm? Well, there's going to be an actual skin injury. So hazard is the source. There's a sharp scalpel. While the risk is the combination of the probability of this hazard will be causing harm and the severity of said harm. So in essence, the probability of accidentally cutting oneself and the severity of said wound. So this can cut somebody, right? And there's a severity of how severe the wound might be. We obviously want to do clean cuts, but we don't want those cuts to be so clean that pretty much just nicking somebody causes a blood vessel to erupt. So there needs to be some type of control. This is another possible example. So let's just move this over to the side. Hazard, potential source of harm. We have an infusion pump, and it has a software with a calculation error. So hazard is a software hazard, software category hazard. Now, dangerous situations somebody might find themselves in where it has a software error, where a circumstance where the person is exposed to danger. Well, the doctor attempts to program a high dose and the software does not alert him. So he's supposed to type in 20 milligrams of something and he types in 2000 or 200 milligrams. And the software at no point says, oh yeah, no, that's obviously you want 2000 milligrams from the patient, right? So it doesn't tell him. What is the damage to the actual patient? Well, there might be a physical injury or a harm to his health. Common impact or harm is going to be a drug overdose to the patient because it is going to have a toxicology effect on him. And what is the risk? How severe is this harm times the probability of this harm occurring? So there's a high probability of software error, and it's a critical damage severity. So somebody having an overdose by mistake would be severity 9. And how likely is it to happen? Well, our current design does not include any safeguards, so probability 9. People make mistakes. What we should have, most likely, is this is going to cause us to look at the design itself and say, hey, we need a solution for this software error. Let's say you're infusing Advil to the patient. That's just a general example I'm pretty sure everyone is aware of. Well, we want to provide 1 dose of the product, not 10 doses or 100 doses of the product. After understanding that we have 4 key words, which we have already discussed, I want you guys to understand that there's something that we call the risk life cycle, where we first identify the risks, we evaluate them with an assessment, we attempt to control them, and we monitor them to make sure that they don't happen again or that the probability and severity is within our original calculated values. The most common mistake is that we think that the risk is just the probability of something. In medical devices, severity will always carry more weight. Something might happen all the time and not be a high-risk item, but something might happen very occasionally and be a very high-risk item. Perfect. You have now completed Class 1 Fundamentals of our Risk Engineering for Medical Devices ISO 14971 course. I'm Quality Engineer for New Product Productions, Andres Ruelas, and I hope to see you guys on the next video. If you have any recommendations for us, you can always email me at info@cusum.mx. Thank you very much, team, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.